ready for the Reading 120. This is Dave Kline. I'm also with Pretzel City Productions, WEU Radio, and Reading Eagle Company, and a COG member for the Reading 120 UCI-sanctioned pro cycling race coming on September 10th. With me right now is Mr. Richi Delgado. He has cycled up to meet me at the highest point in Reading, Pennsylvania, on the mountain known as Mount Penn. Richie, how you doing?
Good, and you?
Yeah, you didn't come up in a car. You decided to ride up today.
I rode, yeah.
Yeah, I came up in a car. So you've had quite an interesting journey. First of all, let's tell the people where your family is from, where your ethnicity heritage is.
I came here 7 years ago from Dominican Republic, and I've been here since.
So Dominican Republic, we're going to get back to that because for the Reading 120, we'll have a lot of people coming that speak Spanish. So North America, South America, Mexico, Dominican Republic, Argentina, lots of places like this, Guatemala. It's going to be fantastic. That's why it's called the Classic of the Americas. And, Richie, your journey's been interesting. Last year at this time, you were a young man that many of us were riding around together from the Reading Bike Hub, downtown Reading, Cherry Street, and it's just a group of cyclists riding around. And at some point in time, you made the decision that you really like cycling. Can you just tell us a little bit, what went on in your mind? Because less than a year later, he's riding on a pro bicycle team. He's already won a mountain bike race. He's riding for Team Skyline with pro cyclist Ryan DeWald at the helm. He's really a great kid and a story to be very, very proud of. So let's go back. Let's rewind to the beginning. How did this click in your mind?
Well, I used to just ride around from, I first got a Walmart bike. That's what I started out with. And then
A Walmart bike?
Yeah, and I used to ride around from my house to school, and, I used to come around behind Albright and, climb the really steep, straight hill just to come down and see what was my fastest speed. And then I joined the bike hub, and then the Reading 120 was coming up. So I didn't have a road bike, so what I did was Eugenia Symmetry came in. It was a woman's bike, and they were selling it for $75. So I bought it just because of the race, and I did the race on that bike.
That's a legendary story because it's a Terry bike that he's talking about, and those that have been around the sport know for a long time there were these Terry bikes, and they were manufactured with a women's build in mind. They had a sort of a smaller front wheel, and they were racing bikes and touring bikes, but you rode the whole course on that. I mean, how did that feel to you? That had to be brutal.
It was a little because I wasn't clipped in or anything. I was just wearing, just sneakers, and the bike was on the heavy side, but other than that, it was just a little saddle sore, basically.
So a little saddle sore. So you were just a kid on a bike, a heavy bike, not clipped in, nothing special, no special race gear or anything like that. Do you remember what you were wearing?
I think I had if I'm not mistaken, I think I had a one-piece thing. Yeah, a one-piece bib, I think.
Yeah, because the hub had some of those in that were donated and so forth. So then fast forward, you finished that, and everybody went, hey, did you see the kid who rode the Terry bike and finished the Reading 120? While some of the pros that have been seasoned veterans have been dropping by the wayside and couldn't finish it. And that's the way it is because it's a tough, tough race. So fast forward, you met and got to be more acquainted with Ryan DeWald. And at some point, you and he talked, and he asked you to come and work at the shop and be a part of the team. Take us through that.
Yeah, after that, I just started going up to Skyline every now and then. I would help out at the shop, and then he just told me, they just tell me if I can get podium in races, they would just pay my entrance fee, and I've been working there since.
One of the best motivations there could ever be is, hey, we'll pay your podium fees, or we'll take care of you if you're going to win a race. That's pretty motivational, huh?
I already won a couple of races with them.
So you've been out there training with these guys that are traveling all around the world. Tell us a little bit about the excitement and how that feels, and is the training more or less than you expected? How is it? It's got to be hard.
Sometimes it's a little hard to train because, I have to sometimes try to keep up with Ryan DeWald, and sometimes it's a little difficult, but I try to do my best always.
The way this works is usually the teacher becomes the person who eventually sees the person he's been teaching in the front view there, And I suspect it could be that way. Ryan's a great teacher and a wonderful mentor for cycling, a great ambassador for cycling, and that's Team Skyline. He has a bicycle shop in Mount Penn called Skyline Bicycles. So when you're out there riding, now that you're really doing it a lot and you're winning races, you're feeling good about winning the races, ever feel bad about the training, like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into?
No, because, I mean, nothing comes easy, you know. You always have to sacrifice yourself to become someone, basically. So I never thought about it that way. I just, you know. Yeah. And I also love cycling.
So there you go. I mean, that is those are sage words from a young man. How old are you now?
I'm 21.
Okay, so 21. So you're just getting into the age where cyclists start to really get their legs under them. You know, you're good for another 15 years probably as you keep after this. I expect we're going to hear a lot more from Richi Delgado. So here we are up on the mountain, on Mount Penn. This is the highest point, but you can probably see I'm sweating a little bit. It's a hot summer day. We're up here in mid-August. You don't seem to be sweating as much as I did, and you rode up here. I think that speaks volumes about your level of fitness compared to mine, but this is the way it goes. If you look over my shoulder right here where I'm pointing, you can see literally where the summit of the mountain crests right here at the William Penn Memorial Fire Tower. There's a great breakout video about the William Penn Memorial Fire Tower. It's a really great historic landmark that is well taken care of by people who, you know, work hard at it and restoring it and preserving it and keeping it open, and it's Pagoda Skyline Incorporated and all those great folks. I can't say enough about them, but their dedication. But here we are at the summit line. Right over my shoulder is where you're going to be climbing. So you're going to be doing this 4 times in the race. You're like a hometown kid here now. So this is like if you were a basketball star, this would be like your home court. Do you sense that all? Do you feel it? Do you come up on the mountain often to train?
I don't train that much. I just ride with him, but you know, I can't do the pro race this year because you have to like win all the races, like crit races. I'm a Cat 5, so I have to win some races and gain enough points to become like sending an application and become a Cat 4 and then a Cat 3 and then a Cat 2 and then when I'm a Cat 1, I will be able to race it.
It's a long process. But if you were to give some tips to any of the pro riders that are coming in, since this is your home court here and you do ride up on this mountain, is there anything you'd tell them, like you know, keep something in reserve as you're coming up the switchbacks, or just go all out right from the start?
Well, the switchbacks are really not that difficult. The difficult part will be from the pagoda up to the fire tower. Those are the more difficult parts.
I know that's the worst part, isn't it? I mean, I've ridden races here in the past, and the switchbacks, you're right. You do the switchbacks, they're okay. On the way south side of the mountain, there's that long kind of straightaway.
They're not that steep, you know. They're not as steep as like this really long stretch up here from the pagoda to the fire tower. That's a little harder than the switchbacks.
Yeah, that last turn, when you turn right past the pagoda and then you start climbing to the final summit, it doesn't look like much when you're in a car, but when you're on a bike, different story, right?
Yeah, things escalate quickly, basically.
Okay, Richi, what I'd like you to do is now I'd like you to use your language skills, and we do have riders coming in from Spanish-speaking nations, and we want to make them feel welcome in Reading and Berks County because this is a race, just like our community is a community that's open for people from all nationalities, and we celebrate that. I remember a couple of years ago, a different bike race we had here in Reading, there was a very strong Colombian team here, and the people went crazy. They had Colombian flags. They were ringing cowbells and stuff for them. So let's give a little greeting to anybody who speaks Spanish and just tell them a little bit about like how we do welcome them to the city in your own words, and we're looking forward to seeing them and cheering them on the Reading 120.
Yo soy Richi Delgado de aquí de Reading, Pensilvania. Yo invito a las personas que sean de otras nacionalidades a que vengan o corran en la carrera y que la disfruten. Gracias.
Yeah, and so how about also while they're in town, anything that you think they should see, you can tell them in Spanish. Any sites you like to see or places you like to eat, things like this, things that might make them feel at home?
Hay muchas tiendas que venden comida hispana y también hay muchos sitios históricos que ustedes pueden ir y visitarlo y le dan tour y la ciudad es linda. Disfrútenla.
Gracias, mi amigo. So come to the Reading 120. Richi, yours is a great and wonderful story of guts and determination. You're just at the very beginning of your cycling career. Everybody here in the community wishes you the very best of luck. You're our own. Thanks, Richi. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. For the Reading 120, this is Dave Kline with Richi Delgado on Reading's highest mountain at the summit, Mount Penn at the Fire Tower.